Hey guys, so this is the start of 11.8, the last section in chapter 11. All right, so we're going to do problems 1 through 10 with the exception of number 8, just because number 8 and number 7 are pretty much exactly the same. They both start you with the same thing, okay? And on my paper, I have surface area and my volume equations. We'll use surface area for 1 through 5, and then volume for 6 through 10, which is why I can have them columned like this. And we'll switch over to my paper now. All right, so let's start off with surface area. The great thing about spheres is, which is what we're doing, I should mention that, is their equations are super simple, and they only have one variable, r. So they'll have they don't have to deal with height or anything else, just r. That's it. So let's plug right in and see what we do. Well, number one, they give me a radius, which is definitely the easiest thing to get to find surface area. So I plug 2 into there. So my area would be 4 pi 2 squared. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 4 is 16. So I could leave it 16 pi if I wanted to, or I could get a decimal. I'm going to leave it like that. All right. What about if they give me the diameter? Well, if they give me the diameter, the radius is just half of that. Divide that by 2, and I get a radius of 5. Well, let's plug that in. So my area is 4 pi 5 squared. 5 squared is 25. 25 times 4 is 100 pi. There we go. All right. What about if they give me the circumference? Well, again, I want to find out what r is. So I need to remember back, probably the beginning of this chapter, that circumference is 2 pi r. Okay. Circumference is 2 pi r. That's the equation for it. So I can now say, well, this is circumference, so it has to equal this. Well, if I divide both sides by 2 pi, I'll get r is, we'll see the pi's cancel out. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and I get my r is 4. So now I can plug in and say, okay, my area is 4 pi 4 squared. 4 squared is 16. 16 times 4, doing this on the calculator, 64. 64 pi. And I didn't write down what the units were, but these would all be units squared because it's area. Okay. Number 4 says, well, what if they give me the area and then ask me for the radius? Well, can I go backwards? We can't. So they say this is the area. Well, again, my area formula is 4 pi r squared. So what I'm going to start off by doing is just divide by 4 pi. Okay, and that's going to give me r squared equals, well, the pi's cancel out, 36 divided by 4 is 9. And then, well, it's r squared, so I need to take the square root, and I get r equals 3. And I did write down the unit here, so it's meters. 3 meters. All right. Again, they give me area. This time they ask me for diameter. So we're going to work the same way. We're going to say, okay, my area formula is 4 pi r squared. Divide by 4 pi. Pi's cancel out. 81 divided by 4 is 20.25. 20.25. By the way, that is not a 7. It looks kind of like one, though. It's supposed to be a question mark. There we go. That's a little better. I'm trying to find the diameter. All right, so we got this plugged in. I get r squared is that. I'm going to take the square root, just like last time, and say r equals what? What's the square root of that? 4.5. Okay, well, to find the diameter, I just multiply that by 2. If I multiply that by 2, I get the diameter is 9, and then where units is yards. 9 yards. All right, so those are the surface area ones. Let's go on to volume. Again, if they give me radius, I just plug straight into my equation. They give me a radius of 3, so I'm going to say, all right, volume 4/3 pi 3 cubed. I'm going to leave the pi in just like I did the other one. I'm going to say, well, 3 cubed is 27. 27 times 4/3 is 36. So this is 36, and then of course pi. And my units would be cubed because they're volume. All right, what if they give me the diameter? Well, if they give me the diameter, the radius is half of that, which would be 15. Plug in. 15 cubed. So I'm going to say 15 cubed. And then I'm going to multiply that by 4/3. And that gives me 4,500 pi. All right. And it says, well, what if they give me the area? Okay, well, let's think about this. What is my area equation? My area equation is 4 pi r squared. So I'm going to say that equals 4 pi r squared. I'm going to divide both sides by 4 pi. Well, anything divided by itself is just 1, so I get 1 equals r squared. If I take the square root, I get r equals 1. So there we go. Now I know that my r is 1. Now I can plug in and say that my volume is 4/3 pi 1 cubed. Well, 1 cubed is just 1. 1 times 4/3 pi is just 4/3 pi. Oh, and I should have put that since my area is in inches squared, my volume is inches cubed. And then what if they give me pretty much the exact same thing. Actually, here's an area. They ask me for a volume. So I'm going to say, okay, we'll set it equal to my area equation again. 4 pi r squared divided by 4 pi. 676 divided by 4. That's 169. The pi's cancel out, equals r squared. I believe the square root of that's 13, but let's check and make sure. Yep, r equals 13. And so plug that into my volume equation. Volume equals 4/3 pi 13 cubed. It's going to give us a big number. So we got 13 to the 3rd power times 4 divided by 3. And I actually get a decimal. This is okay. I'm going to say, well, let's see here. What if I do it as a fraction? Now, okay, so since I got a decimal, I got 2929.33 repeating, but I still have pi. So since that's a decimal, there's no real reason to leave this as pi, so I'm just going to go ahead and multiply it by pi now. If you wanted to leave your answer like that, that's fine. I'm going to change mine to 920. I'll round to the nearest whole number, say 3. My units were kilometers, so this is kilometers cubed. There we go. And that is the end of that unit.